your trip to Disneyland.
Disneyland, yes.
Yeah.
It was, I think that was, could have been our 25th anniversary. I don't remember exactly what anniversary. Anyway, my daughter and her husband, my son-in-law, we took their two children, and we took one of my other grandsons down to Disneyland, and they invited me and my wife to go. We got down there, and it was fun watching the kids. It's amazing how their eyes open up when they see these things down there, you know, and actually I enjoyed the ride probably as much as some of the rides of this stuff. But one of the things that I tell is Spider-Man was there, right? And he's got a little booth, and he's standing there, you know, and of course the kids, they go up and they shake his hand, you know, and this stuff. So I went up and I whispered in his ear. I said, let me put my arm around your neck, twist around, and I'll get you in a chokehold, right? And he goes, okay. So I went up and I shook his hand and put my arm around his neck, and I went like this, and his head's here, and I got this hand like I'm going to hit him, right? And my three grandkids, what's Grandpa doing to Spider-Man, you know? And Spider-Man's killing himself laughing. My grandkids, they were so... Finally, I said, okay, don't ever do that again, Spider-Man, and this stuff. They're like this. Man, I was a hero he could beat up Spider-Man. So I said, yeah, that was great, because they really believe that. And like I said, they get pictures of that with me and the kids. The look on their face, though, they didn't know what was going on. Yeah, that was good. But it is quite a place. The only thing I can say about that is sometimes I saw families here with kids that were like 6, 7, 8, 9 months old or a year. They can't enjoy it. I don't know why they spent the money to take them. I mean, I know it's a nice gesture, but our kid, I think it's 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, probably the prime years so them kids can enjoy Disneyland, you know, because they're so intense, but they can understand it and do all the rides, and it's just great. It was great. And I've only been that one time, but it was well worth it. It was well worth it.
You ended up meeting the president there?
I did. We was down to the hospital sent us down to Orlando. We were the company was Medicon. It's a company we purchase our supplies from, and they had a annual meeting. And our salesman, we drew straws and said, "You want a free trip to the Medicon meeting down there?" And so I said, "Great." So we were down to. That's why I did go to Disneyland one day then too, because the tour took us. But anyway, we went down to the meeting, and one of the nights, President Bush, the elder President Bush, was the speaker, and there must have been 800 of us in the room, right? And of course, all decorated up. There's balloons everywhere, and President Bush comes in. In fact, I got pictures at home shaking his hand. They got pictures of, you know, they all gave us a picture of shaking hands. Well, we're in the room sitting down, and of course, Secret Service is everywhere. And all of a sudden, somebody wasn't thinking, and they popped a balloon. Well, let me tell you, the minute they did that, the Secret Service was all over him at the podium, because he sounded like a gunshot, right? And everybody's looking around, you know, and this stuff. And they finally realized somebody said the guy popped a balloon. And he gets up and he said, it really wasn't too smart to do that when you get Secret Service agents all around the president. But man, let me tell you, they were on him in no time. And everybody didn't know what was going on. But yeah, it was quite a scene. But he was a very nice, good speaker. And we got to talk to him a couple of minutes, shake his hand. Very nice gentleman. You know, probably the only time in my life I ever get to meet a president, so I enjoyed it.
Do you remember anything about what he said?
No, I do not. You know, I don't even remember. It was something about health care, the cost of health care, and I know that, and the advantages that have come along in health care as far as technology and all this stuff, but it had something to do with association with the cost also. And I know it was about health care costs and this stuff, but that's about it.
Could you tell me about your trip to Finland?
Finland, definitely. After my father passed, about five or 6 years after, my sister Elaine said she was looking up the genealogy of our family, and that's where we found out that she sent probably, I don't know how many letters to relatives in Finland. And I think 7 families wrote back, said they would love to have us come over. And so we picked out one of the names. My sister, she looked at it, we picked out one and wrote to him. And we said, yeah, we want to go over there. So like I said, my sister, 2 sisters, my brother-in-law, we went over, met this family. And they were as excited because, come to find out, they were trying to do genealogy study on their family. It would have been my father's side. And back then, when they came over here in 1906, all they had was gone to America. And they never heard from anybody over here after that. So when they finally found out, they were tickled pink because now they could carry on their study a little bit farther. But we met his second or third distant cousin. We went to the place where he was born. The house was still standing, even from 1903 when he was born. And this stuff, it was amazing to see, and it's how rural and it was. It was like living back here in small towns, you know. But to see the friendliness, kindness, and the children were so polite, it was pathetic. I mean, they never met you in their life, and they would be so polite to you, and the cleanliness of. But I think it's in all the countries of Norway and Sweden. We stopped from Helsinki. We driving up to Viitasaari, the town, and we needed gas. So we stopped at a mobile gas station. And my brother-in-law and I went in the men's room. My 2 sisters went in there. We came out. We was all laughing. And my sister said, "Did you have fresh cut flowers on your sink?" We go, "Yeah." "Did you?" She said, "Yeah." And the bathrooms were completely spotless. Fresh flowers. I mean, everything, wherever you go, the country is so clean that you just, in the subways, there's not a mark on the wall for the subway cars. Nothing. And the relatives, and when you hear these things, like, I couldn't believe it. Our cousin, their grandparents, they ride their bicycle. They never had a car. Probably the driveway was 200 yards long down to the road. It's out in the country. And they said, where are they going? They're going into town. They're going to take the bus. The bus is going to pick them up down there. And I goes, well, what are they going to do with their bicycles? Well, they're going to leave them there. I goes, they're going to leave the bicycles beside the road, take the bus into town and come back? Well, won't somebody steal them? Well, why would they do that? And I go, like, are you serious? They just, the honesty of everything was something that, and every time they'd say that, and they'd say, why? I said, well, when they got back, they wouldn't be there in the States. The bikes would be gone, you know. Why would they do that? It was a little bit culture shock that's the way it should be, but it's still going on like that over here. It was pleasant, very nice to see like that. But I mean, everybody was so friendly, but then we thought after, and that's one of the things I tell anybody: if you've got parents that came from over there or grandparents, like I kicked myself 100 times. After my mother passed, why didn't we take my dad back so he could have seen it? Why did we wait till after he passed? You know, he would have loved it. But hindsight will kill you, you know. But we think of that now all the time. But it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life, to meet them people. Yep, yeah.
Have you considered working there?
No, because I like this country too much, you know. I think and all the family, but no, I'd have to be by my family. That's no doubt about that. But if it was one of the countries, if I had to, I certainly wouldn't mind. I mean, they have the laws and stuff are just, you know, they're nice. It's a great. But I think most of them Scandinavian countries are that way. You know, they're very nice countries, very nice. Finland was excellent. Of course. I deer hunt all the time. We had reindeer over there a couple of times, which was totally excellent. And they tried different. Of course, the Finnish pastries are exceptional anyway. And my God, I bet we put on how many pounds. The pastry, and they gave you pastries at every meal. God, they made you feel so at home. and the food is excellent, you know. And but like I said, it goes along with it. You couldn't believe the cleanliness. I've never seen a country that everything was so clean, you know. And the restaurants we went to, like I said, the subways. I kept thinking, how the heck? I can't. There's not a mark on anything. Well, people, they just don't say. Why would you? They say, why would you do that? They go like, I don't know why you would, but they do it, you know, and this stuff. But over there, they have a lot of common sense. When you first get your driver's license, on the back of the car, you have a sticker, and I forgot what it said, but if you caught going over the speed limit, you lose your license again, and it shows the police if they see a car and they see the sticker on the back, and you're going over the speed limit, stop you, take your license, and this stuff. So the kids learn to obey that, and you have to take a driving test in the winter to show you can drive in the snow. You know, so I mean, they got a lot of common sense. And over there, I don't know if it's this way, but if there's a job in the town open, say there's a job like, say, at Stairs, okay? By law, it has to go to a Finnish citizen first. So the unemployment rate of Finnish people was extremely low. And I think that's a good common sense law. You take care of your own first, you know? And when you learn about them, some of those laws, they just made sense. They just make sense, you know? Why couldn't we do some of that stuff here? But it did. It made sense. And the more you get, but from what I hear from people from, like I said, Sweden and Norway, it's probably just about the same over there. But in Scandinavian countries, they're just beautiful, and it's it was nice to go there, knowing that's where your dad had come from, you know. But like I said again, anybody that's got a chance, if you got a parent, like I kick myself all the time not bringing him over there. That would have been the greatest day of his life. Didn't think of it till too late, you know. But yeah, and as far as beauty, like I said, the lakes over there. Seemed like every time you drove around the corner, there was another beautiful lake. And of course, there's thousands of with no houses or 2 or 3 houses, because it's not a very populated country, you know. And the water is crystal clear in those lakes. It's just there's no pollution, you know. It was nice to see something like that. And when they come in and cut a strip of forest off, by law, the guy who cuts the logs, he has to replant it before he can leave, before the job's done. That makes sense. You got all new trees. They have to replant the whole area before the job's done, so that those trees, because the biggest part of their economy is they make some of the finest paper in the world, Finland, and of course that comes from wood, trees. So they have to replant all the forests, and it's a lot of common sense thing.